Bonjour! Welcome back to French Action. If you are planning to live in France and rent an accommodation, this video is definitely for you. This is part 2 of how to rent an accommodation in French. And in part 1, it was about the contrat de location. In this video, I will help you to understand l'état des lieux. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti. Let's start with the obvious question. What is un état des lieux? I did some research for you to get the proper description, and this is what I got on Google. Un état des lieux est un document descriptif faisant l'inventaire d'un espace. Lors de la remise des clés, l'état des lieux est établi contradictoirement et amiablement par les parties ou par un tiers mandaté par elles, par exemple par un huissier. Il est alors joint au bail. Two key words here. L'inventaire and le bail. Inventaire, l'inventaire is an inventory and the bail is the lease. These are the two documents you will need to sign. Very important. So you will see that the état des lieux is a document which contains several pages. Obviously, the more rooms you have, the longer the document. You will have an example in a minute. It is an inventory, and both of you, meaning the owner and you as a tenant, will need to agree on the condition of each item in each room. So you will need to go through each room and do the inventory and tick the right box. And I say as well, including the toilet, because if the toilet doesn't flush, it has to be mentioned on the document. Well, imagine you are in the kitchen and you're doing the état de lieux of the kitchen. But do you know what is in the kitchen? So, here's some vocabulary for you. I put some numbers so that you can see what they are. So number 1, plan de travail is your work surface. Number 2, tabouret, un tabouret, a stool. Number 3, I put that as a dishwasher. I don't know if it is, but let's put dishwasher, un lave-vaisselle. Number 4, une hotte, a hood. Number 5, une cuisinière or une gazinière, if it uses gas, is your cooker. Number 6, un évier, a sink. Number 7, un placard. You have several placards here. And in 8, I put un tiroir. Very important to try the tiroir to make sure that they open correctly, properly. Number 9, I put un four so that you know that four is oven. So just the oven is un four. But here we're talking about microwave, un four à micro-ondes. You will find that the French just say un micro-ondes. Number 10, un réfrigérateur. Not many French people put réfrigérateur. Not many of them would use that. They may say un frigo or un frigidaire, which is a brand of a fridge, but the proper word is réfrigérateur, so we need to use the proper word. 11, éclairage, which is your lighting, so make sure that you switch on and off the lights. Make sure that there's bulbs and everything is working properly. And the last one is robinet, number 12, which is a tap. Here again, you need to make sure that your tap is working. What about your bedroom? Do you know the furniture? So you have une table de nuit, which is a bedside table. But the most important one is obviously your bed and lit. And you sleep on a mattress, which is a matelas. And you have a wardrobe, une armoire, where you're going to put your clothes in, or une commode. What about those things here? Un bureau. And then if you are in the Caribbean, for example, it will be un climatiseur. Un climatiseur, which is an air conditioner. Un lampadaire. So be careful, the lampadaire is the one which is on the floor, not the one on the table. Un lampadaire. And then un ventilateur, a fan. And un tapis, a rug. So we've just seen a rug, so let's see more stuff about the floor, because you could have une moquette, a moquette, which is a carpet, okay? Or your flat may be just a parquet, and a parquet is a wooden floor. Or it could be un carreau, and carreau is a tile, okay? So you could have just tiles. And this might be mentioned in the état des lieux. So I'm putting all this so that you can understand the vocabulary if this is on your état des lieux. Some more vocabulary which you might know already. Plafond is your ceiling, mur is your wall, porte is your door, and plant is your skirting board. And I finish with this vocabulary, un interrupteur et une prise, because all these words are going to be mentioned in the document, so you need to understand what they are. Now let's go through the actual document. So it might start like this: état des lieux, logement, adresse, nom du locataire or des locataires. So you understand everything here. Logement is accommodation. Adresse will be the address of the accommodation, and then the name of the person who is going to rent. Very important words here as well: état des lieux d'entrée, état des lieux de sortie. So état des lieux d'entrée is basically when you're going to go through the inventory on signing the contract, whereas the état des lieux de sortie is when you're going to leave the accommodation. And of course, you're going to have une date d'entrée and une date de sortie. And inventaire is what you're going to go through with the owner. So I'm just saying to you, make sure that you check your lighting, your taps, and also the toilet. I have used a proper état des lieux as a reference, so I have copied what was on it, but I didn't want to put the état des lieux in this video because it's confidential. So this is how it started: relevé des comptes. So that is the reading of the meters. So compteur is meter, and you will have two, one from EDF, which is Électricité de France, and one from GDF if you have the gas in the property. If you have gas in the property, it's going to be Gaz de France, okay? So you will have some obviously numbers when you enter the property, which would be entrée, and when you leave the property, which is sortie. So imagine a form like this, where you have a kind of table, and on the left you have the various parts like cave, which is the cellar, parking, car park, jardin, garden, balcon, balcony, and terrace, your patio. Okay, so what you have to do is really to go through all these places and put something which you will agree with the owner in the part which says descriptif et état. So for example, the cellar was not visited. The person didn't want to go to the cellar, and I can understand because it's very dark in there, and probably the person didn't want to use the cellar. So it was written pas visité. Okay? Parking. Okay, they look at the car park. Yes, they have one. They put okay. And nothing for the rest. It was crossed out because the jardin, balcon, and terrace are not in the property. Okay, it's not part of the property that the person was going to rent. The second part is regarding the porte. Porte entrée is the front door. Then you have a boîte à lettres, which is your letterbox. Accès cave, so access to the cellar. And cave cadenas. Okay, so you have the date here. I didn't put the date, but this is something like that you might see is une clé remise le plus the date. Okay, so the person actually received 3 keys, one for the front door, one for the letterbox, and one for the cellar. Okay, because when you have your cellar, you have to lock it. But interestingly, the Commentaires says that the cadenas is à changer. It means that the lock is not working and it has to be changed. Okay? This part is about heating. So is it a chaudière you're going to have, or radiateur à eau, or radiateur électrique, or ballon d'eau chaude? That is the owner who is going to tell you. So the chaudière obviously worked and they put OK, and there were 3 radiateurs à eau. And then I'm just showing you how to tick the box. Okay, in France, the ticking is a cross, and NA, non-applicable, the same way. So in the following section, because of space, I had to put everything in capital letters like this. So this is what it means. TBE, très bon état. BE, bon état. IM, en moyen état. ME, mauvais état. So mauvais état is the part you have to really be careful, because mauvais état really means it's in bad state, okay? And it has to be written on the form. So here we have porte, which is doors, sonnerie, bell, interphone, intercom, plafond, ceiling, sol, floor, plinth, skirting board, mur, walls, prise et interrupteur. Prise is sockets and interrupteur is light switches. So as you can see, it was en bon état, in good condition. The sol had a little, it was just en moyen état. And for the mur, the person ticked the mauvais état because of 3 black stains. So I'm sure you can guess which room we are in. We are in the bathroom. So, fenêtre double vitrage. Double vitrage is double glazing. So we're talking about fenêtre, which is windows. with a particular type double glazing, okay? WC is your toilet. Lave-mains, your wash basin. Baignoire, your bath. Chauffage, tuyauterie. So chauffage is the heating, and tuyauterie is anything to do with the tuyau, which is pipe. Robinetterie, anything to do with robinet, which is taps. We've seen that before. And rangement placard, anything which has to do with cupboards or places used as cupboards. So, can you guess where we are? We are indeed in the kitchen. So we have fenêtre, windows again, évier, which is sink, évacuation eau, water evacuation, hotte, hood, plaque cuisson is your cooker, it depends, it could be rings because the plaque, you know, if it's not a gazinière or une cuisinière, okay. Lave-vaisselle is your dishwasher, plan de travail, work surface, four, oven, machine à laver, washing machine. And here on the plan de travail it says quelques rayures sur la peinture, a few scratches on the paint, and that has to be mentioned. So what kind of things can you put on as a commentaire, as a comment? Well, rayure, if you see one, rayure is a scratch. And maybe you've seen that the peinture is abîmée. Peinture is the paint, okay? The paint on the wall is abîmé, damaged. Or there may be a fuite, which is a leak. There may be une tache sur le tapis, a stain on the rug. Or when you try to flush the toilet, it doesn't flush. La chasse d'eau ne fonctionne pas. That's what you have to put, or something similar. Maybe the mirror, which is in the bathroom, is broken. Or maybe one of the chairs has a leg which is broken. Well, you have to write it. It's either miroir cassé or pied de la chaise qui est cassée or something like that. Okay? So you will see that sometimes there won't be a full sentence because there's not a lot of room to write on the état de lieux. But at least you can put the keywords which are very important. And my advice to you, take some pictures. So you have visited the accommodation, you like it, and you want to rent it. Okay, so there will be an appointment between the owner and yourself so that you can get the keys to this accommodation. But to get the keys, you will have to do quite a few things. Okay, you will have to obviously deal with the état des lieux, as I mentioned it, and also sign your bail, which is your lease. And of course, you will have to pay your deposit and your first month's rent. So it's quite a lot, isn't it? So now, to go back to the état des lieux, I just would like to give you a piece of advice. Pay attention to details, because sometimes the owner may be in a rush, is going to rush you, and you are not going to pay attention to a few things. And then if you don't put it in the commentaire, you will be in trouble when it comes to leaving, because you need to remember that the deposit, which is your dépôt de garantie, is kept by the owner. And that until he or she is happy that you have left the accommodation as it was when you got it. Otherwise, you'll have to pay. Sorry, you will not pay anything, but you will lose. You will lose your money. Okay? So what I say to people, take some pictures, because everything in the pictures is there. This is how it was. with the date, and then there cannot be any problem. Also, with the buy, make sure that you read carefully the contract. Okay, do not sign something you don't understand. And lastly, I would like to talk about the RIB. RIB may be coming into the conversation with the owner because he may have to give you his RIB, which is relevé d'identité bancaire. It's a little paper with all his information, his bank information. So there will be the name, the account number, and so on. And when you're going to do a direct debit, you would need to have his RIB, relevé d'identité bancaire. I think that with those two videos, the one on the lease and this one, you should be okay. So, bonne chance! I have come to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm very excited for you because if you're going to rent accommodation in France, that's brilliant. Okay, so if you enjoyed the video, please like it. Don't forget to share it. And of course, to subscribe. And a big thank you to those who have subscribed. Au revoir!